So admittedly, I'm a little late to the party when it comes to this, but as you guys know, I have been putting out a lot of content when it comes to Salon Privé and the classic cars. Check that out if you've not already, of course. But I did see a news announcement here from BBC News, so shout out to João da Silva, the business reporter who's penned this article here, basically saying that Volvo are giving up their plan to sell only electric vehicles by 2030. Interesting. You know, we do love this EV news at the end of the day. It's always interesting, but let me just read from this article just to go through what's been said, what's happening and what's likely to happen, and why Volvo have been basically changed their tact, you know? I mean, it's only 6 years away, but clearly they feel that they don't want to sell only electric vehicles. Clearly either the demand's not there or the infrastructure's not there, but let's have a look what it's saying. So, car company Volvo has abandoned its target to produce only fully electric cars by 2030, saying it now expects to be selling some hybrid vehicles by that date. So it's electric vehicles and hybrid as well. So it sounds like they're still going to potentially give up on petrol and diesel vehicles. Let's have a look what it says though. The car maker blamed changing market conditions for its decision to give up a target it had announced only 3 years ago. It comes as the industry faces a slowdown in demand in some major markets for electric vehicles and uncertainty due to the imposition of trade tariffs on EVs made in China. It's interesting on China there. I guess some countries are maybe putting restrictions up for EVs that are made in China. Maybe Volvo are making cars in China as well, I'm not sure. Let's have a look at this. Volvo, which has traditionally flaunted its environmental credentials, joins other major car makers General Motors and Ford in rowing back on EV ambitions. Volvo now expects at least 90% of its output to be made up of both electric cars and plug-in hybrids by 2030. Plug-in hybrids are good, to be fair. Like, I've already covered that extent, you know, a very long extent with my good friend Ed Bernardin. I can't remember what the video is called now. Something like, you know, plug-in hybrids might be the best solution. They might be the best of both worlds, because overall, I'd say they kind of are for a lot of people. Everybody's different, of course, but the Swedish car company may also sell a small number of so-called mild hybrids, which are more conventional vehicles with limited electric assistance. So the hybrid electric element would be smaller with that compared to the petrol or the diesel element. That's basically what it is. Transition will not be linear. Volvo said the following. We are resolute in our belief that the future is electric. However, it's clear that the transition to electrification will not be linear, and customers and markets are moving at different speeds. The company also said the business climate for EVs has changed due to the factors of slow rollout of charging infrastructure. Yeah, that's the biggest one. The infrastructure is just not here. I mean, I know some people who've got electric cars, and literally the other day, my good friend who I used to work with, he starts up saying, I'm trapped, I can't get home. I'm just stuck at this car park waiting for my car to charge up, when he'd been out all day at work, and he got home like 2 or 3 hours after he should have done. That's terrible, and that just would not happen. You know, say what you want about petrol vehicles, I know they're bad for the environment, of course, but that would just not happen. It's a fact that would just not happen when you've got a petrol vehicle. Simple as that. Simple as that. There's no ifs or buts about that. There's that many petrol stations that you could find one easily enough, and it'd take about 10 minutes to fill up, probably, if that. The company also said the climate for EVs has changed due to factors such as slowdown of rollout, charging infrastructure, and the withdrawal of some customer incentives. Independent equity analysis Anna McDonald said that customers still had concerns about switching to EVs. Some of the subsidiaries that governments have put in place to encourage electric car production have ended. So that's why they're just thinking of that ongoing lack of demand, because of consumers are worried about charging. It remains the case that electric vehicles remain more expensive, yes. Although used ones have gone down in price. They're actually cheaper. Again, done a video on that. Check it out if you haven't already. But in general, new ones are more expensive, yes. While the EU and US are putting tariffs on Chinese cars that are imported to stop them kind of swamping the market, that just means that vehicles have to be made outside of China, which is more expensive in themselves. You know, that's just the way it is. Car manufacturers are not keen to start making a loss on these vehicles. Why would they? Why would they want to make a loss? So yeah, interesting. It doesn't say, I don't think it says when Volvo's new. No, it doesn't. Volvo don't have a target now, according to this article, when it comes to going fully electric. They said they're going to go 90% hybrid and EV by 2030 rather than 100%, and that's a massive shift. We're going to see more of this because basically governments, I mean, at least in the UK, I can't speak for all countries, I don't know. I think a lot of Europe is actually ahead of us, to be honest, when it comes to this, particularly countries like Sweden, where Volvo of course are from. Here in the UK, we're just not ready for it. We're not ready for it at all. Our government has been, our previous government anyway, has been extremely slow in rolling this sort of stuff out. It's set these ambitious targets to go fully, no more diesel or petrol vehicles by 2040, I think the plan was, but it's been rolled back. It's going to be like 2060 when it happens at this rate, knowing our government and how incompetent they are. But new government now, maybe things will change, but I wouldn't hold my breath on it because it's such a difficult issue, because people are struggling to live at all right now. People are struggling to afford a car at all, let alone a brand spanking new electric car. People just can't afford it. So this is going to be the tip of the iceberg situation. More car companies are going to do the same. Volvo are not going to be the last. They're not the first either. Ford and General Motors, the two biggest car manufacturers in the United States, have said the same thing, because it's probably a similar situation over there too. And it'd be worse in America because the distances are bigger. But I've had a lot of conversations with Ed and people like that about electric vehicles. So go check out those chats if you haven't already. There's 5-minute chats that are really about 15 minutes because they're such big topics, you know, there's a lot to cover. So yeah, that's my kind of thoughts on it, guys. What do you guys think? Are Volvo right to do this? Do they have a choice in the matter? I don't think they really do. I think they have to push it back, and they've not set a new date. So we'll see what happens with that. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and of course keep it subscribed to themotoringchronicle.com to see much more motoring news and opinions just like this.